Richard Dick Cross, 1937 to 2009. Richard Cross, born and raised in Michigan, came from a large family and learned at an early age hard work was the key toward getting what you wanted out of life. So he quit school, got a job at a fruit market, and by the time he was 18, he was a manager, married, and had one child. Always ambitious, he went on to work for himself as a door-to-door salesman for various companies. In the 1970s, the door-to-door sales model was starting to fizzle out, and he had the opportunity to work with concrete pumps. As we all know, once you're introduced to pumping, it gets in your blood and stays there. By the 1980s, he was ready to open his own pumping company, Ace Concrete Pumping. With the help of Dennis Andrews, he obtained his first used concrete pump. His daughter Donna ran the office while Richard ran the operations and many times a concrete pump. He had a lot of contracts in the construction industry, so getting work was not hard, but caused him to work a lot of weekends and holidays. As the business grew, he added more pumps into his fleet. A 28-meter Schwing, a couple of 28-meter Whitemans, as well as Whiteman trailer pumps, and a prototype of a 36-meter Reinert. Since most of these pumps were used, many long hours were spent working to keep them up and running. He had a lot of help and support along the way from his good friends at Height Concrete Pumping and Bill and Bob Drake of Hydrocrete Pumping in Cleveland, as well as a faithful and loyal operator, Larry Doc Mobley, who stuck with Richard through thick and thin. Ace pumped concrete on many of Michigan's high-profile construction projects, such as the Pontiac Silverdome, the Detroit Renaissance Center, the Ambassador Bridge, and several commercial high-rises. The big jobs back then were in the auto plants during their shutdown time, as well as work at the proving grounds. And there was always work at the University of Michigan and Eastern Michigan, along with pumping residential walls and residential seawalls. In the late 1990s, Richard was one of the first to venture into the mudjacking side of pumping, raising slabs and reinforcing foundations. He designed and engineered the trucks so they would be self-contained. The venture turned out to be quite successful, and his youngest son Randy joined the business and continues to operate it today. With business good and his kids managing the day-to-day operations, Richard began enjoying his golden years, traveling to Florida for the winters and fulfilling his lifelong dream of owning a farm in the country. He met his new wife, Sandy, and got back into his love of working on old cars. Time off was sounding better and better, so he decided it was time to sell his concrete pumping business. It was purchased by Pumpco. In 2004, Richard was diagnosed with MDS. He spent the next 5 years of his life still traveling to Florida when his health allowed, but his greatest thrill was spending time with his family. Holiday dinners at the farm, hay rides in the fall, keeping the four-wheelers running for the grandkids, and barbecues in the summer. Sadly, Richard passed away on November 11, 2009. His customers will remember him for the smile he always had on his face and for going the extra mile for them. But many will remember him for his passion and, most importantly, the love he had for his family. Richard and Sandy combined have 6 children and 9 grandchildren.